Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Ash Paulson and John Cartwright to discuss Sega's South by Southwest panel, where they revealed Sonic Mania Plus and a new Sonic racing game. So yeah, some actual big announcements for their South by Southwest panel this year, and getting people excited. A lot of people excited, especially off of Sonic Mania Plus, it seems. But just right off the top, before we really get into it, Ash, how'd you feel about this panel?
I'm super hyped. I am day one there for Sonic Mania Plus. Of course, I'll be honest, this is not what I was expecting. Now, at the same time, I wasn't expecting like a Sonic Mania sequel this soon. But as excited as I am about Plus, and I really am, I just hope that this isn't all they have coming, and I hope that there is a proper Sonic Mania sequel still in early pre-production that's going to get announced maybe next year or something. But hey, as like a stopgap thing to keep us hyped until that hopefully inevitable Mania sequel, I am all about Plus. I can't wait to find out more about this new Encore mode. I love that Mighty and Ray are coming back as playable characters, that Mighty and Ray are coming back at all, really. That's a really cool surprise. And while I would really like to have seen some new levels, that of course would be really nice. I totally get what they're going for here. Sonic Mania was already a complete feeling package as it is. And I don't necessarily think it needs new levels, but the new stuff we've got here, I'm super excited about. And that physical edition, oh my god, that Genesis packaging, the art book, I'm all about it. I'm so excited.
What about you, John?
I think Ash is forgetting the true Megaton, which was they announced that classic Sonic from Generations and Mania are the same Sonic. So there goes that entire theory of like multi-universes. But yeah, I'm really excited for this, and I honestly would have bought Mania again if they just made it physical and did nothing more. So it's great that they're adding more content, and as Ash said, having Mighty the Armadillo back, that's crazy.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they had some hints towards him in the main game, didn't they, with missing posters and things like that?
No, I don't think so. There was only the wanted posters for the hooligans.
Oh, right, that's right.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, this is completely out of nowhere, other than the fact that these guys love to reference the classic Sonic characters that haven't been in games in a while, which is cool, which is really cool. Like, I'm excited for these two coming back. Like, it was as soon as I saw the announcement, I'm like, oh, man, well, good thing I did that missing in action when I did.
Right.
It's like, well, that's out of date now, but oh, well. No, it's really cool to have him in there. Like Ash, I would have liked to have new levels in there, at least Mystic Cave, because actually I was just thinking about this the other day. I was like, man, it'd be so cool to actually get this sort of thing and actually have Mystic Cave in there, because I don't know, that's always been one of my favorite levels from Sonic 2. And the other thing I was thinking is like, I mean, it's cool we're getting Mighty and Ray, that's awesome. Kind of wish we were getting Amy as well. Like,
yeah, Amy would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have the 16-bit design for Amy from Sonic CD, so that would be really, really cool. And she was playable in Sonic Advance as well, so we have a kind of 2D moveset, even if that wasn't the best of the possible characters in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amy would have been cool, and I would have liked, since we're on the topic of how it would have been nice to get maybe even one extra zone, I always thought it would be nice if we got one more zone from Sonic 1, just because Green Hill is the only representative from Sonic 1, so it would have been really cool maybe to see, like, Starlight Zone or something like that.
Yeah,
but
Starlight Zone would be another good one. That one gets little representation, it's criminal.
Yeah, but I mean, again, there are already 12 zones, and the game is plenty long already, so, it's not as if I feel like it's lacking that they didn't add any new levels. It just would have been nice.
True, very true. But yeah, what we got was cool, and honestly, I'm kind of curious how they're going to expand upon Mighty and Ray, because are they basically just going to be clones of Sonic and Tails? If they are, it's cool, but that you're actually playing as them. But I kind of wish there's a little bit more. I kind of hope there's going to be a little bit more to them than just Sonic skin, Tails skin.
Mm-hmm.
I think there will be. I don't think they would have trumpeted the fact that these characters are coming back as playable if they weren't planning on differentiating them somehow. They may not be a huge difference, but I feel like they're at least going to have their own signature move or mechanic or something that sets them apart from Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
Yeah, one thing I really liked about Knuckles in Sonic Mania is he had this kind of side story where levels would sometimes begin in different places, or there'd be like a little opening cutscene that's a bit different. So it'd be cool if these guys kind of have like an alternate story and how they fit into this whole adventure. So yeah, I'd like to see not only them having unique movesets, but maybe having a unique spin on the levels as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. That'd be really cool, actually. Yeah, I agree. And I think Knuckles even has like one unique boss, if I remember, or mini boss, if I remember correctly, in Mirage
Boss,
Saloon 1.
yeah, mini boss and stage.
Mirage Saloon Act 1, the stage and the mini boss at the end are completely unique to him. So that'd be really cool if we could get, I don't think we'll get a unique stage for Ray and Mighty, but maybe if we got like a unique boss for them, that would be cool.
Yeah, I guess we have to explain how they come into all this too, because I think it starts off with Sonic and Tails on Angel Island, and Knuckles is there too, so how do these guys fit into all of this?
I'm curious how they'll actually do that. Like, it just sort of randomly pop up somewhere.
I'm pretty sure I already know how, and all answers lead back to the Phantom Ruby. That thing is such a ridiculous MacGuffin. They can just make anything the reason for, or the Phantom Ruby the reason for anything. Oh, these guys are suddenly here? Phantom Ruby. That's why.
Perfect. Makes complete sense. So do you have any idea about what the Encore mode might consist of?
That's the question, right? That seems to be the main new addition that they're, in terms of the main core game. And they say that it, I guess the PR says that it mixes up the gameplay in some sort of way, but I don't know exactly how that would be. I mean, I've always thought that a boss rush mode would be a nice addition to Sonic Mania, just to be able to play all the bosses from one to the other, maybe even a single life. But I don't think that's what Encore mode would be, but I don't know exactly how it might change things up. I mean, they could make things harder, I guess, by making it so you can only ever take a hit, but that's just like a hard mode, so I feel like it's got to be something more than that.
I think the most disappointing thing it could be is a reflection of Sonic 1, where if you lose all your lives, you start the game all over again. So,
oh, gosh.
I think it's not
Good
that.
point.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not that. But I'm trying to think of ways they could, like, meaningfully switch things up in Sonic Mania, and I don't know exactly what that would be.
Yeah, I'm trying to think as well. I mean, it's really just sort of seems to me like a remix would be the best option, but I'm not sure how much they'd be able to remix each stage and make them still interesting and unique, and still feel like that stage, or without feeling like a completely new level. Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe it could just be like a literally a remix where stages just come up in like a random order. Like, you can go from Chemical Plant 1, then your next stage is Oil Ocean Act 2. I don't know, but again, I feel like that alone wouldn't be enough.
You could have that, and then maybe have bosses appear in like random orders too. I don't think that wouldn't really work for all of them, but
it wouldn't work for every zone.
A couple at least.
Yeah. Oh man, what if they was basically just like, I think randomized mods are really popular right now. What if they just made their own randomized mod, where it's just like weird, like here, like all of a sudden this enemy is in this zone instead of this, and oh wow, it's this boss instead of that. But it's a little harder to do with Mania, just because a lot of the bosses are specifically made for their arenas. But there's a lot of different ways that they could take this and still make it interesting.
I guess you could have like one stage where you're playing for the first 30 seconds or so, and then like the Phantom Ruby kind of zooms out and zooms back in, and all of a sudden you're in a different zone, and just kind of keep swapping between those. Though that may be a little bit too jarring.
Yeah, but that could be one angle. One thing I've always thought would be really cool that I wanted to see in the original game but didn't happen was an option to switch out like the sprites that you're playing as. So like, if you don't want to play as the Sonic Mania version of the sprite, you can switch it out for the Sonic 3 Sonic, which has always been personally my favorite version of the 2D Sonic sprites. But again, that alone wouldn't really make for a whole new mode. So that would be really cool if that was one element of it, and I could, mix and match what Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles look like in terms of the sprites they're using. But again, that alone would not necessitate a whole new mode.
Yeah. I'm not sure what they're actually going to ultimately come up with, so it's fun to speculate, but just hearing Encore mode doesn't really tell us enough. Although, do you think anybody's actually excited for 4-player multiplayer?
I guess maybe some. It's I've always admired the multiplayer, but I don't think adding more players necessarily makes it more fun, because you're still just kind of well, I guess you could interact with each other. Weren't there items in the multiplayer that would kind of throw off the other players?
I never played it, especially because it's local.
I did play it, but not for a while. I think you could. They're like ring boxes that kind of change up what's going on with the other players, I believe.
Yeah, well, at least in Sonic 2 multiplayer there would be monitors that would switch the players' positions and just cause all kinds of chaos. And right. I think those were back in Sonic Mania multiplayer too. And I was actually going to say, if I had friends who weren't lame, who actually wanted to play the multiplayer with me, I would love it. I'd be really excited about this because I actually like playing like the Sonic Mania multiplayer, but none of my friends will play it with me because they're just not into, those kinds of games like that. So if I had people to play it with, I think 4-player Sonic Mania is actually pretty cool, but I don't know how many people are actually going to get that much use out of it, unfortunately, myself included, because I find it fun, but I don't know enough people who actually want to play it with me.
I still wish they'd make a racing game out of the bonus stages.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
That's actually, I would just like to have more of those bonus stages, like kind of like the way they did the Blue Sphere, like extra Blue Sphere stages when you hooked up Sonic 1 into Sonic and Knuckles. I want more of Sonic Mania special stages, even if you don't get anything from them. I just want more backgrounds, more courses, more stages to play, because they're by far, I think, my favorite 2D Sonic special stages.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. They were just really solid and really fun to get through, so I wish, but probably not, unfortunately. But there was one final announcement related to Sonic Mania, and that was, I believe it's called Sonic Mania Adventures?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I am like, when I heard the Sonic Mania Plus, I'm like, oh, please have a new opening, and like something like involves Mighty and Ray, was my thought. But then the Sonic Mania Adventures was announced. I'm like, good enough. I'll take it.
Oh yeah, I love the idea that we're going to get 5 brand new animated shorts from the same studio who did Sonic Mania's opening animations, ending animations, which themselves were inspired by Sonic CD and recaptured that style so well. And I've been doing some reading about Sonic Mania Adventures, and apparently they've talked about how there's going to be no dialogue. It'll feature at least Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, which makes sense. And, I mean, I love that idea. Like, I don't even think these need dialogue. I love the idea that we're going to get just a back-to-basics approach for Sonic animation. It kind of reminds me of the shorts, like the Pikmin shorts that Nintendo did. They're being released free of charge. And, yeah, I can't wait to see these. I think this is going to be super cool. Plus, they confirmed that T. Lopes is going to be coming back to do the music for these animated shorts, which obviously makes me even more excited. So, bring them on. I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't want to fathom a guess for how many times I've repeatedly watched the Sonic Mania opening, because it's just so good.
Yeah, it really, really is.
Exactly, and these are 5-minute shorts. There's going to be multiple of them. I don't know how many years of my life I'm going to waste just watching these over and over. But I'm really excited for this, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Like, booting up Mania for the first time and seeing that opening cutscene and not realize... Because Ash and I got it before... Sega revealed it themselves, and I was like, oh, thank you, yes, I was so hoping for this, and to actually see it come true, and I was so for it. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. I love how they give you even a little taste, like, okay, here's Sonic back from Forces, and Eggman's immediately up to trouble, go stop him. Totally down.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. But honestly, don't have too much else to say about that one. Just that it's awesome that it's actually happening.
Yeah, I mean, that taken together with Sonic Mania Plus is just, yeah, I love that all this stuff is coming in summer. It just gives me a whole new thing to look forward to, gaming-wise. We don't know when in summer, but sometime, those are usually the dog days of the gaming industry with the least amount of big releases. So... this is a perfect time for this. Just, refresh Sonic Mania. I will play through this game again as many times as they want me to, basically. and like you said, John, I would have bought Sonic Mania physically anyway, even if they weren't adding anything to it, but this just makes it even easier.
Mm-hmm. One thing I think could have been cool is if these animations were instead like zone transitions from one level to the next. I mean, I'm taking what I'm getting here, but... it would be neat just to have a few story cutscenes throughout the game, maybe to just sort of stretch out the narrative a little more. Because sometimes the zone transitions were a bit jarring, especially towards the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that Derek and I had the same. That was like one of our few criticisms about the game in our co-review. Is that the zone transitions, kind of like from the second half of the game forward, don't always make a lot of sense, and you're like, wait, how did Like, I mean, like, Mirage Saloon to Oil Ocean makes sense, but then so many of the others don't. And it's like, wait, how did he actually get to Hydro City? Like, wait a minute. How does that work? Suddenly you're just falling into Hydro City. I'm like, that's cool, but I'd really like to see how they got there. So that would have been nice, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you guys feel about the price point? $30 seems incredibly reasonable to me, especially with the little extras you get. The art book, the holographic cover, the reversible slip, so you can have it look like a Genesis game. Like, they seem, plus all the new stuff itself, that seems like a pretty good deal, at least to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think $30 is reasonable for Sonic Mania alone.
That's what I was exactly what I was going to say. Like, yeah, $29.99 for the game alone back when it came out last year would have been fine with me. But yeah, just the fact that we're getting this fantastic game plus all these really cool extras and well-considered extras at that, yeah, at $10 for that, sure.
It does make me wonder how much the DLC for the digital version is going to be to upgrade it to Plus, because they did not mention the price point for that. It looks like they're still trying to figure it out. It's a weird thing because you spent $20 already for it. So, and you don't want to spend $10 because, I mean, essentially I guess that would put you up to the physical version, except you don't have any of the physical rewards for it. So it would have to be almost $5, but depending on how much is added with Plus, especially the fact that we are getting 2 new characters, is $5 enough to offset the cost of creating Mighty and Ray? I'm actually kind of not sure how they're going to handle that one to make it seem fair.
The DLC is a bit of a hard sell, because you're getting 2 new characters, but how much does it actually change the game up? Because we don't really know at this point. And by the sounds of it, the new additions are just kind of neat extras, rather than something you may want to go out of your way and buy. So I kind of feel like the Plus features are more there to add value to the physical edition, rather than really being something you need to replay again. So yeah, it's really hard to try and price this DLC knowing what we know at the moment. But I would say if I weren't going to get the physical version, I'm not entirely sure how much I'd want the DLC.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a really good way to look at it. It really does seem like these are kind of neat quality of life features to add a few, cool doodads to the game, but don't necessarily change up the core gameplay experience all that much, or maybe even really at all. So I think we really have to wait until we know more about, hey, how are Ray and Mighty going to play? Are they actually going to be that appreciably different from Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles? Or are they more like character skins, like you were possibly saying, Derek? And Encore mode, how much does that really add to the game? So, how much does it really change things up? And, if as John is saying, these are just kind of nice additions rather than changing up the core experience, $5 seems like a fair price to me for that. I mean, it's hard because they could go the $7.99 route, but then you're looking at the physical extras being only $3 in a weird, that doesn't make sense. So yeah. I do feel like $4.99 actually could make sense, especially if these additions aren't really that big a deal, and they don't, in context, they don't seem like they are. Of course, for us as fans, they are, but in terms of adding overall value to the game, they don't seem like they're adding that much.
Yeah, especially if they are just a Sonic and Tails skin, essentially.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, you might have a few original animations in there to really show off Mighty and Ray's personalities, but other than that, I would not be surprised if they're pretty much like those two, which, is fine, but it does sort of like make you question whether or not you really want to upgrade, especially if it's going to be $10 rather than $5. $5 I don't think I have a problem with. $10, that's where I'm a little and especially when you're not getting the physical rewards.
Exactly. Like, I've said a lot about how I think, people overreact too negatively about DLC prices, especially when they're pretty cheap. But yeah, $9.99 for all this stuff, knowing that you can get all these physical extras for the same price, just buying the physical version, yeah, that would be a little tougher for me to swallow. I'd probably still buy it because I'm a huge Sonic fan, but that would be harder to swallow. So I think, I don't know. Of course, they haven't decided on a price, but based on what we know right now, $5 does seem to be a pretty fair price point, I would think. And even at that low price point, so many people I think would upgrade that it would still make a nice chunk of change.
Yeah. That is the other thing. It's like, okay, $5 or $10 to upgrade, or another $30 in order to get all this stuff. So that's where, if you already bought it and you don't have the money for it, at least you do have that upgrade option. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now here's one thing they could have added for me to buy it for $10 or really whatever they want, sight unseen. If they had added a 16-bit style sound version of the soundtrack that you could toggle between, that I would buy whenever they asked for it in a second. That would be so great.
So Ash, it sounds like you really want just extra audio and visual filters, because you want different sprites, you want different soundtrack options, and the more I think about it, that would have been really, really, really cool.
Yeah, there was even some speculation prior to Sonic Mania's original release that there may be that T. Lopes might have prepared a Genesis sound font, 16-bit version of the soundtrack. Those are rumors that never materialized, but I think that would make for a really cool DLC extra that I think a lot of people, especially given Sonic's musical pedigree, like Sonic fans are already keyed into video game music, so I feel like that would sell really well if they decided to do that. But that doesn't seem like it's on it's in the plans or anything. So
yeah, it seems like a pipe dream, honestly. No offense, Ash. I know you want it.
Wow,
it would be cool.
A pipe dream? I mean, there have been games who've done this before. Yikes.
True, but I mean, for what we've seen so far, it doesn't seem likely. That's what I mean by pipe dream.
No, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, this wasn't the only thing announced at this panel, though. They ended it off by showing a teaser for a new Sonic racing game. And gotta say, this teaser didn't do a whole lot for me. Like, it's cool, the fact that we're getting a new Sonic racing game, and they teased the R, which made it look like Sonic R, which I think all it's going to do is confuse the hell out of people. Because it does not. Aaron Webber immediately said this is not a sequel to any previous Sonic game. Or any previous game, I should say. So that means it's not a sequel to Racing Transformed, not a sequel to Sonic Drift, not a sequel to Sonic R, not a sequel to Sonic Riders. There's actually been a lot of Sonic racing games. Go figure.
Yeah, I agree. The teaser didn't do a whole lot for me. I mean, look, I loved Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed and the original Sonic Racing. I'm looking forward to whatever this game ends up being. But literally, the coolest thing about that teaser was the Sonic R version, like the R in the logo, being called back from Sonic R. And that, of course, again, just spreads confusion because, I was getting this news as I was on my way home because I was running some errands today. And I'm like, oh, wow, the R is a Sonic. Could this be a Sonic R sequel? And then very quickly, Derek, you were like, no, they said on Twitter it's not. I'm like, oh, or at the panel it's not. I'm like, okay, I get it. But damn, that just makes me really want this to be a Sonic R sequel, even though I know it isn't.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like the thing is, it's not that I'm not excited for it. Like the core idea of a Sonic racing game and it being in cars, and the fact that I love Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed so much. I still say that for me at least, fun wise, whatever else, I don't care what you say. I like Transformed more than Mario Kart 8. I just do.
I don't blame you. I mean, for a while, I mean, I still may agree with that. I played so much Sonic Transformed on Wii U. And for a while there, I was having more fun with it than Mario Kart 8 as well. I just think Mario Kart 8 has ended up having more lasting power, like more staying power, of course, with like deluxe version and stuff. But yeah, like moment for moment gameplay, I like Sonic Transformed more a lot of the time, I think.
Yeah.
Just like you, Derek.
And it has a much better single player campaign, which I always appreciate. And it really helped me like really understand things. And as I was going through, I just really enjoyed it. But I am also a big Sega fan. I grew up with the Genesis, so seeing a lot of these games being represented with courses and characters, I was a total mark for it. And I think that might be why somebody might not be as into that as they were they might be for Mario Kart. However, having it being more focused entirely on Sonic would mitigate that. And I think the thing is, Sonic has, of course, this long history to him. There's so many ideas for stages and courses in this game.
Oh yeah, like if you have a Sonic game completely focused on the Sonic series and not all of Sega, I can't even, I can think of so many zones, right off the bat that would be awesome to see in a racing context. So, yeah, I mean, whatever this ends up being, I'm going to be so excited. I just kind of wish they hadn't gone with that Sonic R connection in this little teaser, because that immediately makes my mind go to, just wanting a Sonic R sequel. And I even tweeted out earlier, right after I found out, that obviously this is not going to happen, but I'm like, okay, if you're going to connect this to Sonic R with that logo, my list of demands is you get Richard Jacques back on music, you get TJ Davis back on vocals, and you get Tails Doll playable. Those are the three things I want out of this game, and the first two things are definitely not happening.
That third one's probably going to happen.
I would not be shocked if Tails Doll makes a way in there, because it is one of the more memorable things. Well, actually, you listed the three most memorable things about Sonic R. Honestly,
I did.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, though. I would love to see a new version of Supersonic Racing and some of the other songs from Sonic R. Those soundtracks are so memorable, and I didn't even own Sonic R growing up. I never played it before, but those songs are so damn catchy. So, yes, put them in the game, but the thing is, I don't always have faith that Sega will do that, because they had a game called Sonic Boom and no remix for Sonic Boom, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Well, to be fair, we have actually seen infrequent Sonic R remixes in various Sonic releases over the years. So I was actually going to say I wouldn't be surprised to see a few Sonic R individual track remixes sneak into this new game. I mean, obviously, I don't think it's going to be a whole Europop soundtrack like Sonic R was, which I think would be, again, I think that would be awesome. But I would be surprised if a remix of Supersonic Racing and Can You Feel the Sunshine, at least those two songs, I'd be shocked if they didn't pop up in this new game somehow.
One question I think is quite important, though, is Sumo Digital developing this? Because the vehicle in the trailer looks really similar to the ones from Sonic and All-Stars Racing. So I wonder if, because that visual design's so similar, whether the developer's the same.
I hope so.
Weren't there rumors about that being the case? People seem to be pretty aware that a Sonic racing game might be coming, and it might be coming from Sumo Digital because of... I've missed out on a lot of the sources, but I've seen a lot of people talking about that. I was like, oh, yeah. Even when I tweeted out before that, I was like, oh, I wonder what Sega might show, and immediately people were like, oh, it's probably going to be this racing game. So people knew this was coming.
Right.
And it seems to be Sumo Digital. I hope so, because, again, I love Transformed. Get them back on here and let them do their thing. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's kind of what the speculation is already, for fan speculation, has already been pointing toward a new racing game. So I don't know how much speculation there's been about Sumo Digital being the one making it, but I hope that's the case, just because they did such a bang-up job with Transformed, and I completely trust this series with them. So I would be very happy to find out they're on this game, too.
If it has just half the soundtrack that Generations did, in the same way, and yet let you choose which song you play on each course, I'd be in heaven.
Well, and now, of course, I'm thinking about the fact that we now have Sonic Mania's new original zones to pull from in terms of track design.
It's Studiopolis.
So, Studiopolis or Press Garden.
It'd be so good.
Oh God, I'm already thinking about it, and I just want this to be real now already.
But now watch them take them all from Forces, though.
Oh God!
Oh God!
I mean, at least what's that? Casino Forest or whatever.
Oh, Casino Forest. Yeah,
that would look kind of cool visually if they're going to pull from any of the Forces levels.
Yeah, that'd be okay. I mean, and I still maintain that there were a few stages toward the end of the game that actually, started approaching and matching the quality of some of the good stages from Generations and such. So, I could see that. I can't remember the name of it, but there's a futuristic Metropolis type level toward the very end of the game that I think would look really cool, but I don't want any Sonic Forces stages in that game, honestly.
What, you don't want Infinite as one of the racers?
Actually, I do.
Avatar character?
I want Infinite in that game just because of this stupid theme song. He was so edgy. I do want Infinite in that game.
That's the thing. There are so many Sonic characters to pull from for this.
Yeah.
There is just endless.
We already have some Forces assets, so I'd gladly take Chaos Zero or something, because Chaos Zero had such a small role in Sonic Forces, so try the car.
Yeah, I'd take Chaos Zero, I'd take Infinite. I don't know what else from Sonic Forces I'd want to salvage, though. Probably not a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that's wholly original to it, I should say.
Yeah. Well, I guess the Avatar. Do we want the Avatar playable? The Avatar playable.
Not really, but it would be kind of funny if there was some sort of connection where if you had a file of Sonic Forces, you could import your avatar into the game.
That's true. And I
mean, it's kind of like having the Mii or whatever else. I mean, Transformed has some weird characters. It had Wreck-It Ralph and Danica Patrick as playable characters. So the Avatar does not strike me as weird. At least it still fits.
What I want is Pumpkin Hill from Sonic Adventure 2, that graveyard level, and have just a small gravestone somewhere off course that says Avatar character on it. That's what I want.
Nice. I want that just because it would allow for a remix of one of the Knuckles raps from Sonic Adventure 2, and I am always 150% behind that idea.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, Rooftop Run stage, that'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
Rooftop Run or Cool Edge from or Holaska, whatever it's called from
Unleashed.
Sonic Unleashed. Yeah, that would be really cool. There are just so many great zones they could pull from both 2D and 3D.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I think that's the exciting part, is just the fact that there's so much history of Sonic they can pull from and really focus on here and knock something out of the park. I really do think they're going to be able to, hopefully able to do that, especially if it's Sumo Digital. So there is a lot of potential with this game.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And even though I think we can all pretty much agree that Green Hill is almost certainly going to be one of the tracks, I actually think it would be really cool if they did like a mishmash of all of, like the opening levels. So you get, it starts off, you have one track that starts off Green Hill, goes into a bit of Emerald Hill in terms of like the visual design, and then goes into a bit of Angel Island and kind of captures all three of those opening levels instead of just going to Green Hill yet again.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick of Green Hill.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, everybody is. I don't know. Do you think it's coming out this year? Because I didn't even say that. Or do you think it's going to be a next year game?
I kind of feel like it's this year. I wonder if it's on Switch, though. That's another question. Because, well, I guess it could be, because Forces was on Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Yeah, and Transform did make it to the Wii U, despite being one
Right.
or the other, so...
I would be
I think
actually shocked if it wasn't on Switch. Like, especially because, all the third parties now know that the Switch is just unstoppable. It's taken off, and there are so many developers scrambling to get their games on Switch now, and especially with how Sonic Mania did so well on Switch. I don't know about Sonic Forces, but Mania at least has done very well on Switch, so it would be shocking to me if they announced this racing game only for PS4 and Xbox One and Steam. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Especially since a lot of Nintendo fans are Sonic fans. They became Sonic fans because of the GameCube releases.
Yeah, like Sonic's natural home really is Nintendo consoles now. I mean, of course he's multi-platform, but he has always felt, to me at least, like he's most naturally at home on Nintendo platforms, so I would be so surprised if this racing game didn't come to Switch.
Yeah. Another question, actually. How many Sonics will be playable in this game? Because we have quite a few Sonics in the current canon.
That's a really good point.
Oh, wow, yeah. Classic Sonic, Super Sonic, modern Sonic,
Boom Sonic.
Boom Sonic, Adventure Sonic.
I feel like Boom Sonic, at least in terms of his game appearances, that just isn't going to happen again. Like, I know the Boom cartoon's still going strong, and it's a great cartoon, but I kind of feel like they're trying to sweep Boom Sonic under the rug, and at least in terms of where the games are.
Yeah.
They did just have, well, not just have, I mean, they recently had Sonic Dash with Sonic Boom characters.
Oh, right, that's true. I forgot about that. The mobile sequel is like Sonic, yeah, that's right, the Sonic Dash 2, and it was just all Sonic Boom characters or something.
Yeah, I mean...
Which is so weird.
I mean, with mobile games, that seems to me like they're trying to appeal more to kids, so...
Yeah.
Kids watch the cartoon, hey, these characters are in this mobile game, check them out.
Although, I guess it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. Like, I'm not expecting Boom Sonic, but I guess I wouldn't be all that surprised to see Styx, because at least she's, like, the one original character from that.
Oh, yeah, and she even made it into one of the Olympic games, so...
Yeah, so, I could see Styx in there at least.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely a lot of endless speculation about what this Sonic racing game could be, what it could actually have in it, but I like that there's a lot of potential. I just wish the teaser itself was a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't just make me want Sonic R2. Like, did they have to go that? Now I just want Sonic R2. Come on.
Sorry. All right, I think that covers it for our Sonic discussion, so thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, and of course make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Sonic and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.